The first thing Inspector Adil Rahman noticed about the body was how carefully it had been arranged to look accidental. The man lay at the foot of the marble staircase in the Grand Crescent Hotel, one arm twisted beneath him, the other flung outward as if he had tried to catch the railing and missed. His neck was bent at an unnatural angle, but not so extreme that it immediately screamed murder. Guests passing through the lobby paused, whispered, shook their heads and murmured the same conclusion. Terrible fall, tragic accident. Adil crouched beside the body, ignoring the low hum of panic in the background. Hotel security hovered nearby, sweating through their uniforms. A chandelier glowed warmly overhead, throwing soft golden light across the scene. Everything about the place was designed to reassure, to suggest safety, luxury, and order. And yet a man was dead. What's his name? Adil asked. Mr. Cameron Shah, said the hotel manager, a thin man with trembling hands, business consultant. He checked in 3 nights ago. Adil studied the corpse. Cameron Shah was in his mid-40s, well-dressed, expensive watch still on his wrist. No visible blood, no obvious wounds other than what could plausibly be explained by a fall. Too plausible. Adil leaned closer. The smell hit him faintly. Bitter almonds, almost lost beneath the scent of polished wood and floral cleaner. He straightened slowly. This wasn't a fall, he said quietly. The manager blinked. But, Inspector, everyone saw him go up the stairs earlier. He must have slipped. Adil looked up at the staircase. It was wide, spotless, fitted with brass railings and anti-slip carpeting. No, he said. He was dead before he hit the ground. By the time the body was moved and the lobby cleared, rumors were already spreading faster than facts. The Grand Crescent was famous for discretion. Politicians, industrialists, foreign investors, all passed through its doors. A death like this was bad for business. For Adil, it was worse. It was personal. Cameron Shah had been scheduled to meet him that very morning. They had spoken on the phone 2 days earlier. Cameron had sounded nervous. His words rushed. I don't have much time, he had said, but I've uncovered something big, something dangerous. Then go to the police. Adil had replied. I am going to the police, Cameron had said. I'm coming to you. Now he was lying on a slab in the morgue, and whatever he had discovered was buried with him, or so the killer hoped. The autopsy confirmed Adil's suspicion. Cameron Shah had been poisoned, cyanide, fast-acting, lethal. The fall down the stairs had occurred after death, carefully staged to mask the true cause. Murder in plain sight. Adil gathered his team in the briefing room. Inspector Farah Qureshi leaned against the whiteboard, flipping through her notes. Constable Imran stood stiffly by the door. We have a controlled environment. Adil began. Hotel cameras, guest lists, staff rosters. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing. Farah nodded. And they knew cyanide would be hard to detect immediately, which means planning. Adil said, this wasn't a crime of passion. Imran cleared his throat. Sir, hotel security says Mr. Shah was seen drinking tea in the lounge about half an hour before his death. Adil's eyes sharpened. Tea. Yes, sir. Brought by room service. Farah frowned. Cyanide in tea would be noticeable. Bitter taste. Unless masked. Adil said. Almond essence. Sugar. Or unless he never tasted it at all. Silence settled over the room. Get me everyone who interacted with him in the last 6 hours, Adil said, staff and guests. As they moved out, Adil felt the familiar tightening in his chest. This wasn't just about catching a killer. Cameron had trusted him, and someone had silenced that trust. The suspects lined up neatly on paper, each with motive enough to raise an eyebrow. There was Nadia Shah, Cameron's estranged wife, who had checked into the hotel under her maiden name. She claimed she was there for a conference. She also stood to gain millions from Cameron's death. Then there was Raza Malik, a rival consultant whose firm had recently lost a major contract, one Cameron had won. And finally, there was Salman Iqbal, the hotel's senior security officer, former military, impeccable record. He had personally reviewed the surveillance footage that mysteriously malfunctioned for 7 crucial minutes, the window in which Cameron died. 7 minutes was an eternity. Adil began with Nadia. She sat across from him in the interview room, composed but pale. Her eyes flicked briefly to the mirror on the wall. "I loved my husband," she said, "even if we were separated. Yet you didn't tell him you were staying in the same hotel." Adil replied. Her lips tightened. "Coincidence." Adil slid a photo across the table. Cameron's phone, recovered from his pocket. "He called you 3 times last night." Nadia's composure cracked just slightly. "He wanted to talk." "About what?" She hesitated. "About his work. He said he'd made powerful enemies." Adil leaned forward. "Did he tell you who?" She shook her head. "No, and I didn't kill him." Adil believed her, or at least he believed she hadn't done it alone. Raza Malik was less subtle. "This is absurd," he snapped. "Yes, Cameron and I competed. That's business." "Business worth killing for?" Farah asked. Raza laughed sharply. "If I wanted him dead, Inspector, I wouldn't do it in a hotel full of cameras." Adil studied him. Raza was arrogant, reckless, but not careful enough for this. Then there was Salman Iqbal. He stood at attention, hands clasped behind his back. "I've served this country for 20 years, he said calmly. "I don't poison people. Your cameras failed," Adil said. "Technical issue." Salman replied without missing a beat. "Only on the floor where Cameron Shah died." Farah said. Salman's jaw tightened. "Coincidence. Too many coincidences." The breakthrough came from an unlikely source, a housekeeping attendant named Shazia. She approached Farah nervously, twisting the edge of her dupatta. "Madame," she whispered, "I saw something strange." In the staff corridor, Shazia had seen a man wearing a maintenance uniform enter Cameron's room. Not the usual staff. She hadn't thought much of it at the time. Adil checked the records. No maintenance was scheduled. "And the cameras?" Farah asked. Adil smiled grimly. "Blind for 7 minutes. They pulled the uniform logs. 1 set was missing. Salman Iqbal had signed it out." Confronted with the evidence, Salman remained calm. "You're making a mistake," he said. "Then explain the cyanide." Adil replied. "Explain the uniform. Explain the cameras." Salman's eyes hardened. "You don't understand what kind of man Cameron Shah was." Adil leaned closer. "Then help me understand." For the first time, Salman hesitated. He sold information. Salman said quietly, "Sensitive information." He didn't care who got hurt. Adil's pulse quickened. "What kind of information?" "Security contracts, government vulnerabilities." He was going to expose people, or sell them out. "I was ordered to stop him." "Ordered by whom?" Farah demanded. Salman smiled sadly. "If I tell you that, Inspector, you won't live long enough to use it." That was the moment Adil knew the truth was bigger than one dead man. Cameron's secret was eventually uncovered on a flash drive hidden in the lining of his suitcase. Lists of payments, names, dates, proof of corruption at the highest levels. Enough to shake the country. Salman hadn't acted alone. He was a cog in a much larger machine. When the arrests came, they were quiet, careful. Officially, Salman Iqbal was charged with murder. Unofficially, files disappeared, investigations stalled, and powerful names were never mentioned. Cameron Shah's death was ruled a homicide, but the full story never made the headlines. One evening, weeks later, Adil stood again in the lobby of the Grand Crescent Hotel. The chandelier still glowed. Guests still laughed. Life moved on. Adil looked at the staircase where Cameron had fallen. Murder in plain sight, he thought, not just the crime, but the truth itself. Hidden where everyone could see it, and no one dared to look too closely. Adil turned and walked out into the night, knowing one thing for certain. The most dangerous crimes weren't the ones committed in darkness. They were the ones committed openly, confidently, and with the belief that no one would ever question them.